My name is Tom Miles, and Susan, my wife, and I moved here about 2.5 years ago. We moved from Colorado, beautiful Colorado, in order to be close to our family, our daughter and her family. And being lifelong Episcopalians, one of the first items of business was to go to a church, find an Episcopal church that we could attend. We came to Nativity, and it was great. We were so welcome from the very first time we walked in the building, and it made us feel like we belonged. And that's very important to me because I'm a retired priest from the Episcopal Church, and the way they do that is that when you retire, you become canonically resident in the diocese where you retired. So I still belong to the Diocese of Kansas. But really, our experience here has said that we belong here. That's very important to me. I'd like to tell a little story about that. You see, when I was 10 years old, we moved to Kearney, Nebraska, and my father became the rector of St. Luke's, and my mother was very concerned about being proper. So we sat in the last pew, and I was not confirmed. I was too young to be confirmed at that time, and so when communion came, all of the family, my brother, my sister, my mother, got up and went forward. But I had to stay there alone in the pew, and I felt bereft. And I was so happy when I finally got to be confirmed, probably for all the wrong reasons, but I belonged. And I can remember the first time I got to go forward and have communion, and I was with everybody. I belonged. Now that's what I experience here, and that's what I see here, what I observe, is all of those people who go forward. I watch them go forward, and I know something of their lives, and I know something of their sorrows and their gladness, and it's great. And especially the children. There's one little girl who rides upon the throne which her father presents to her, and she is the queen going to receive the King of Kings. It's wonderful. Now I'll tell you one more story. A few years after I was confirmed, an old friend of our family, Jack Schofstall, was the head of the Every Member Canvas. I was in the middle of junior high, and I had a paper route up Central Avenue, and I made around $5 a week. Anyway, when they began their Every Member Canvas, Jack came over to me and he handed me a pledge card, and he said, "You're old enough to do this. Here, fill this out." I was just flabbergasted that I would be asked to do such a thing as a young lad. But all of a sudden I realized I had some money that I could give to the church. And so I wrote down 50 cents a week, because that was my tithe of $5. I don't know whether any of the other kids in the church got that card, but I did. And that made me feel like I belonged. The same thing is true here. Now, Susan and I have had long talks about this over the years, but we have made it a practice to tithe. And I tell you that not to be bragging, but to tell you that I am so blessed. We are blessed to be able to do that. And we're blessed because we have a sense of being part of the team, of supporting a mission. And it's our business now what goes on in this church. I hope that's the way many of you feel about your giving, because it's really part of the whole process of being a follower of Jesus. We belong. Finally, I just hope that you'll see that so much going on in this church is designed in order to make everybody feel that they belong. It's the most fundamental thing about being a Christian is belonging. We belong to Jesus. We belong to each other. We belong here. And that's all I got to say to you.